Okay. So today, uh, Devratna, you will navigate me when I will be in full screen. Is your mic working properly? Whenever I'll ask question, whether I'm audible or screen is visible or not, you will guide me, because at that time in my screen there is only the PPT, nothing else. So आपको कोई दिक्कत आ रही है ऑडियो की या वीडियो की, अगर कोई प्रॉब्लम आती है तो आप मुझे गाइड करना. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'll minimize first and I'll open this PPT. So we have to continue from here. Is the screen visible to you now?
Yes, sir.
What is there on the screen?
Discovery of neutrons.
Okay. So in the previous class we left here only. That is how neutrons were discovered. So here in this slide we have discovery of neutrons by James Chadwick. ठीक है? You can see a barrel gun, white colored barrel gun. This barrel gun is used to bombard alpha particles. Here you can see the red balls. These red balls are actually alpha particles. When these alpha particles strike the beryllium foil, can you see this beryllium foil? Yellow color spheres. Then, when alpha particles strike this beryllium foil, then what was noticed? Some particles, some neutron particles were observed. Okay. Now you can see here. You can see the reaction. Reaction is He plus Be give rise to C plus N. You can see at the bottom the charge is +2, means it is alpha particle. Alpha particles are helium nucleus having 2 unit positive charge and 4 unit mass. The next one is beryllium. Beryllium metal has atomic number 4 and mass number 9. When alpha particles strike the beryllium atom gets converted into carbon 12. Carbon having atomic number 6 and mass number 12. Along with this, a neutral particle is also released. This neutral particle is represented by symbol N. It has 0 charge and 1 unit mass. This, since its mass is similar to that of proton and it is neutral in charge, therefore this particle was called neutron, where nu means neutral, having no charge, and tron comes from proton, having mass equal to protons. In this way, James Chadwick discovered neutrons. So next slide. Here we have comparison of properties of fundamental particles like electrons, protons, and neutrons. So first you can see the symbol. Symbol of electron is small e. Symbol of proton is small p. And symbol of neutron is small n. Then absolute charge. What is the exact charge or absolute charge on electron? The absolute charge on electron is minus 1.6022 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Whereas the absolute charge on proton is plus 1.6022 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. And the absolute charge on neutron is 0. Here you can compare that the magnitude of charge of electron and proton is same, but the nature is different. Electron is negatively charged, whereas proton is positively charged, but both of them have same magnitudes. Now relative charge, this unit charge 1.6022 into 10 power 19 coulomb is known as 1 unit charge, and the nature is minus. So the relative charge is minus 1. A proton have relative charge plus 1. Neutron have relative charge 0. Then mass per kg or mass in kg. The mass of electron in kilograms is 9.10939 into 10 power minus 31 kg, whereas the mass of proton is 1.67262, that is 1.673 into 10 power minus 27 kg, whereas the mass of neutron is 1.67493 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Here you can see that the mass of proton and neutron is approximately similar, but mass of electron is very less and it is considered to be negligible. Now mass in atomic mass unit or unified mass. The mass of electron in terms of unified mass is 0.00054, which is very less, and hence it is neglected, and electrons are considered to be weightless particles. Protons have mass 1.00727, whereas neutrons have mass 1.00867. Thus, the approximate mass in unified mass terms is electrons have 0 mass, protons have 1 unit mass, and neutrons have 1 unit mass. So, mass of proton and neutron is same, that is 1 unit. Now, let's proceed to next slide. Here, the discovery of radioactivity. Who discovered the phenomenon of radioactivity? Henry Becquerel. Okay. How he discovered? He took some radioactive element like radium or thorium and observed it under the influence of an external electric field. And in this way, he was able to identify 3 types of rays. Here at the top, you can see the phenomenon of spontaneous emission of highly energetic alpha, beta, and gamma radiations from the disintegration of nucleus of an atom of an element is known as radioactivity. And the elements are known as radioactive substances. So, those substances which spontaneously emit the highly energetic alpha, beta, or gamma radiations are known as radioactive substances, and the phenomenon is known as radioactivity. Here you can see the first type of particles are alpha particles. Alpha particles are symbolized as He2 positive, having charge 2 unit positive charge and mass equal to 4 units. Then another type of particles are beta particles. Beta particles are symbolized by symbol E, having 1 unit negative charge and mass equal to 0. That means beta particles are exactly similar to that of electrons. But the difference is beta particles comes from the nucleus, from the disintegration of nucleus, whereas electrons are present in their shells or extranuclear part. Then third type of particles are gamma particles. Gamma particles are symbolized by this gamma symbol, similar to Y. It has 0 charge and 0 mass. Okay. Now you can see this next slide, radioactive elements. So radioactive elements are spontaneously emit alpha, beta, gamma radiations. 3 types of radiations they emit. And all these 3 types of radiations are highly energetic radiations. When these radiations are subjected to external electric field, here you can see there are 2 plates. One plate is negative charge and another plate at the bottom is positive charge. When a radioactive element is kept here in this box, these 3 energetic radiations spontaneously or automatically emerge, and when they pass through this electric field, what happens? They get deflected. Okay? One type of radiations get deflected towards negative terminal of electric field, and these are called alpha rays. The radiations which get deflected towards the positive terminal of external field are known as beta rays, and these yellow radiations which are not getting deflected are known as gamma rays. So it means that alpha rays are positively charged, beta rays are negatively charged, whereas gamma rays are neutral in nature. Next slide. After after the discovery of radioactivity and the discovery of subatomic particles like electrons and protons, scientists had great challenge to find out how these subatomic particles are present inside an atom, where these subatomic particles are present in an atom. So the first attempt to solve this problem was made by J.J. Thomson. He proposed a model for explaining the structure of atom, and this model is known as Thomson's atomic model. In the picture you can see Sir J.J. Thomson. अगर क्विज में अभी आपसे पूछे, किसी फोटो दिखाए और आपसे पूछे whose picture is this, then you should be able to tell that this picture belongs to Sir J.J. Thomson. So in 1898, J.J. Thomson proposed that an atom may be regarded as a sphere of approximate radius 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter or 10 to the power minus 10 meter, carrying positive charge due to protons and equal number of negatively charged electrons embedded inside it. It is considered similar to plum pudding or raisin in pudding or watermelon. Okay? Here you can see the picture of Thomson's atomic model. It is a brown colored sphere, and the whole sphere is positively charged. The sphere consists of positively charged particles, and these negatively charged particles are filled inside it. The magnitude of this negative charge is always equal to the total positive charge in the sphere. Thomson's atomic model is also compared as plum pudding और रेजिन इन पुडिंग. यू कैन सी दिस पिक्चर. जैसे ये पुडिंग है ब्राउन कलर का, उसमें देखिए क्या डाले हैं, रेजिन्स डाले हैं. सो रेजिन्स हियर रिसेंबल्स इलेक्ट्रॉन्स एंड द पुडिंग रिसेंबल्स द होल स्फीयर कंटेनिंग पॉजिटिव चार्ज. सिमिलरली watermelon model, the whole flesh and the sphere outer surface of watermelon is considered as positive charge sphere, and the black color seeds of this watermelon resembles the electrons present in the atom. Therefore, Thomson's atomic model is compared similar to a watermelon, or it is considered similar to plum in pudding or raisin in pudding. Here you can see approximate radius is 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Now, what are the drawbacks of Thomson's atomic model? Thomson's atomic model could not explain the observation of alpha scattering experiment conducted by Rutherford. The second is it could not explain the stability of atom. Why? Because the positive charge and negative charge cannot remain separated from each other. If positive charge and negative charges are in close contact or in close vicinity with each other, then they will combine with each other and will neutralize each other. Okay? When this positive charge and negative charge will neutralize each other, this leads to the failure of the Thomson's atomic model. So here these are the two main drawbacks of Thomson's atomic model. First is it cannot explain the observations of alpha scattering experiment. It cannot explain how negative and positive charge can stay together without neutralizing each other. The next slide is Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. This experiment was conducted by Ernest Rutherford. Can you see the picture of Ernest Rutherford? Devrat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And here there is the experiment. In this experiment, what is there? There is a source of alpha radiations, alpha particles. And here you can see there is a thin foil of gold, thin gold foil at the center of this semicircular ring. This ring is made up of zinc sulfide. Zinc sulfide means ZNS. Zinc sulfide screen is a photosensitive screen. Whenever any radiation is striking on the surface of this photosensitive zinc sulfide screen, then there is produced scintillations or sparkings. So when some alpha radiations emerged from this source, they strike the gold foil. What was observed? Okay. Some of the radiations were passed straight, some were getting deflected, and some were getting rebounded back. You can see this. observations, most of the alpha radiations, about 99%, passed straight without undergoing any deviation. Some of these alpha particles were deflected by small angles less than 90 degree. ये जो इधर देखिए येलो कलर से है, येलो कलर से जो है ये डिफ्लेक्ट हुई लेस देन 90 डिग्री, और जो सीधे चली गई दे पास स्ट्रेट. Very few alpha radiations or alpha particles, approximately 1 out of 20,000, were rebounced back, making angles greater than 90 degree. Some radiations rebounds back, making angle greater than 90 degree. These were the 3 observations of alpha scattering experiment conducted by Rutherford. Once again, I'll try to tell you. First observation, most of the alpha radiations pass straight without suffering any deviation. Then, few alpha radiations were deflected by making angles smaller than 90 degree. Third, very few alpha particles or alpha radiations were rebounced back, making angle 180 degree. Here is the explanation of Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. You can see these blue balls having black dots. These resembles the atoms of gold foil, and these black rays which are coming are actually alpha particles. Okay. Here in second picture you can see there is a massive positively charged center which is known as nucleus. Most of the alpha rays are getting passed undeviated. Few alpha radiations are getting deflected, and very few alpha radiations are rebounced back along the same path, making angle equal to 180 degree. So what were the conclusions made by Rutherford? Since most of alpha radiations pass straight, Rutherford concluded that the major part of atom is empty. Then, since few alpha particles which pass close to the center of the atom were deflected by small angles, Rutherford concluded that the center of atom is positively charged, and this deviation has occurred because of repulsion between positively charged alpha particles and positively charged center of the atom. It means that the center of the atom is positively charged. When positively charged alpha particles passes from close vicinity to it, they get deviated, making angle lesser than 90 degree. Then, since very few alpha particles which exactly strike the center were rebounced back, making large angles, this led Rutherford conclude that the center of the atom is extremely small, extremely hard, or rigid. क्यों? Because very few alpha radiations were rebouncing back. ठीक है? Since very few alpha radiations were rebouncing back means very few number of alpha radiations were exactly striking the center. And since very few were exactly striking the center, very few alpha radiations were rebouncing. That means the center of the atom is extremely small and it is hard or rigid. So these are the conclusions of Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. Next slide. Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So the next slide says Rutherford's nuclear model of an atom. Earlier it was Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. That was an experiment. On the basis of observations and conclusions, Rutherford proposed a model of an atom which is known as nuclear model of an atom or Rutherford's atomic model. Here, an atom consists of 2 parts. First part is known as nucleus and the second part is extranuclear part. So what is nucleus? Nucleus is the positively charged center of the atom in which positively charged protons are present. It is extremely small and extremely hard. Extranuclear part, it is the 3-dimensional space present around the nucleus. In this part, negatively charged particles, that is electrons, are found revolving around the nucleus in circular paths called orbits or shells. These electrons exert centrifugal force acting away from the nucleus, which balances the nuclear force of attraction. So, these electrons are held together at their place in the orbit because centripetal force and the centrifugal forces are balanced with respect to each other. you can see the picture of Rutherford's nuclear model. Here, if we consider this sphere as an atom, then this yellow sphere will be nucleus. So, every atom consists of nucleus and three-dimensional space around it. The radius of an atom is found to be 10 to the power minus 10 meter, whereas the radius of nucleus is found to be 10 to the power minus 15 meter. Rutherford's atomic model is compared similar to a solar system. We know that in a solar system, different planets are revolving around the center called sun. In the same way, in nuclear model, electrons are found revolving around the nucleus as the center. Clear? So, Rutherford's nuclear model is compared similar to the solar system. Now, drawbacks of Rutherford's atomic model. You can see this picture. This picture belongs to James Clerk Maxwell. Maxwell proposed a radiation theory or electromagnetic theory, which says that whenever a charged particle is revolving around another charged particle, it must radiate energy in the form of radiations. And when it radiates energy, then the revolving charged particle will experience more and more force of attraction from the center or from another charge present in the center. Fine. So, according to this theory, radiation theory by Maxwell, the charged particles when accelerated must emit energy as electromagnetic radiations. Thus, the revolving electrons must also radiate energy continuously. As a result, it must come closer and closer to the nucleus, following a spiral path as shown in the figure, and should finally collapse with the nucleus, leading to destruction of the atom. So, radiation theory given by James Clerk Maxwell, okay, suggested that Rutherford's atomic model is not correct, because when electrons are revolving around the nucleus, they should have lose energy in the form of radiations. When they lose energy, they will be attracted more and more from the nucleus, and in this way they will follow the spiral path and will come closely, gradually to the center and will ultimately collapse with the center, leading to the destruction of the atom. So, what are the drawbacks of Rutherford's model? It could not explain the stability of an atom, could not explain the observed atomic spectra. Now, proceed to next slide. So, Rutherford gave a method for representing an atom. Here you can see the representation of an atom. X represents the symbol of the atom. Then this Z represents the atomic number of the element. That means the number of protons present in the nucleus of an atom. And the A resembles the atomic mass number. Atomic mass number means the sum of number of protons and number of neutrons present in the nucleus of an atom. So this is the symbol of an element. Here you can see X, Z and A. Z stands for atomic number and A for atomic mass. Z equals total number of protons present in an atom, and A total number of protons and neutrons present in an atom. So here is a question for you. An atom has 29 electrons and 35 neutrons. Calculate the number of protons and mass number of the element. Also write the complete symbol of the atom. Very simple question. So कैसे करेंगे? Number of electrons is equal to 29, number of neutrons equals 35. Now atomic number Z equals क्या होता है? Total number of protons equals total number of electrons in neutral atom equals 29. Since the atom is neutral, so number of electron will be equal to number of proton, that is 29. Mass number क्या होगा? Number of neutrons plus number of protons, that is 29 plus 35, and this will give the value. You can find out the value. Now, next slide is isotopes, isobars and isotones. What are isotopes? We all have studied this in class 9. So I am rushing up this so that the syllabus can be covered in faster time. So isotopes are the atoms of same element having same atomic numbers but different atomic masses. They have same number of valence electrons and hence have same chemical properties but different physical properties due to different masses. Here in the picture you can see three symbols X, Z, A, X, Z, A plus 1, X, Z, A plus 2. तो नंबर ऑफ प्रोटॉन्स पहले वाले में कितना होगा Z, दूसरे में Z, तीसरे में भी कितना Z. Why? Because they are the atoms of same element. But the number of neutrons will differ. तो नंबर ऑफ न्यूट्रॉन्स कैसे निकालेंगे? A माइनस Z, ठीक है, A plus 1 minus Z, A plus 2 minus Z. Here we have some examples of isotopes. First, isotopes of hydrogen. Hydrogen have three isotopes, H11, H12 and H13. The first isotope of hydrogen is known as protium, which has 1 unit mass. Second is deuterium, which has 2 unit mass. And third is tritium, which has 3 unit mass. Second element is carbon. Carbon is also having 3 isotopes. These are carbon 12, carbon 13 and carbon 14. All these isotopes have same atomic number because they belong to same element. Then the third element is fluorine. Fluorine has 2 isotopes, fluorine 35 and fluorine 37. Next, isotopes, isovalent isotopes. Here, properties of isotopes. Here you can see there are 2 isotopes of fluorine given, fluorine 35 and fluorine 37. It means mass number of fluorine is, fluorine 35 लिखा है 35, fluorine 37 का mass number कितना हुआ? 37. Number of neutrons कैसे निकालेंगे? Atomic number को minus कर देंगे. So 35 minus 17 equals 18. 37 minus 17 equals 20. Atomic number is also given 17. So what will be number of protons? Number of proton will be equal to atomic number, that is 17 in both the cases. Number of electrons 17 in both the cases because both the atoms are neutral. They are not charged. They are neither getting negative charge nor positive charge. What will be electronic configuration? 287. Valence electrons 77. Now, since they have same number of valence electrons and same electronic configuration, that means the chemical properties of both these isotopes will be same, though they have different physical properties. So isotopes have different physical properties but similar chemical properties. Next is isobars. What are isobars? Isobars are the atoms of different elements having different atomic numbers. Atomic number is different, means they belong to different atoms, but they have same atomic masses. Since they have different atomic numbers, they have different chemical properties. क्यों? क्योंकि atomic number different होगा तो electronic configuration different होगा. Electronic configuration different होगा तो valency different होगी. Valency different होगी तो chemical properties भी different होंगी. So here you can see in the picture there are 3 X. पहले में mass number क्या है? A. All these 3 symbols have same atomic masses A, but they have different atomic numbers. In first case, the atomic number is Z, in second, Z plus 1, and in third, Z plus 2. For example, here we have 3 isobars, argon 40, potassium 40, calcium 40. All these 3 isobars have same atomic masses, 40, 40, and 40, but they have different atomic numbers, 18, 19, and 20. They have different atomic numbers means they are the atoms of different elements. So atomic number in first case 18, second 19, and then 20. Mass numbers 40, 40, 40 each. Since they have same mass numbers, it means they have same physical properties. They have different atomic numbers means they have different chemical properties. Next type of particles are isotones. What are isotones? Isotones are the atoms of different elements having different atomic numbers, different atomic masses, but same number of neutrons. Iso means same, tones means neutrons. So isotons are the atoms of different elements having same number of neutrons, though they have different atomic numbers and different mass numbers. For example, carbon 14, nitrogen 15 and oxygen 16. These are isotons. कौन कौन से हैं? Carbon 14, nitrogen 15, oxygen 16. And all are having different atomic numbers also. Carbon has atomic number 6, nitrogen 7, oxygen 8. Now you can calculate the information. Atomic mass 8. Carbon का कितना? 14, nitrogen 15, oxygen 16. Protons is equal to atomic number. So number of proton in carbon is 6, nitrogen 7, oxygen 8. Neutrons means atomic mass minus protons. Atomic mass में से proton यानी atomic number को minus कर दीजिए. So 14 minus 6, 8 in carbon. 15 minus 7, 8 in nitrogen. 16 minus 8 in oxygen. That is 8. In all these three cases, we can see that the number of neutrons is same, 8, 8, 8. Therefore, they are isotones. So isotones are the atoms of different elements having same number of neutrons. Next, nature of electromagnetic radiations. Next slide. अब देखिए यहाँ पे any matter which is present in this universe have two type of nature. Either it will have particle nature or it will have wave nature. Even me, you, your computer, your mobile, everything has two types of nature, particle nature and wave nature. अब किसी भी सब्सटेंस में ज्यादा कौन है? पार्टिकल नेचर ज्यादा है तो वो पार्टिकल कहलाएगा, वेव नेचर ज्यादा है तो वो वेव कहलाएगा. ठीक है, जिसका भी मैग्नीट्यूड ज्यादा होगा. अगर वेव नेचर का मैग्नीट्यूड ज्यादा है तो इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज वेव. अगर पार्टिकल नेचर ज्यादा है तो इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज पार्टिकल. तो let's study the nature of electromagnetic radiations like light. So light have both particle nature as well as wave nature. The wave nature of electromagnetic radiations was given by C. Huygens. Who gave the wave nature of electromagnetic radiations? C. Huygens. And later on, James Clerk Maxwell proposed electromagnetic wave theory according to which C. Huygens and James Clerk Maxwell proposed electromagnetic wave theory, which states that all electromagnetic radiations like light rays, X-rays, gamma rays, etc. emits energy continuously in the form of radiations or waves. They were of the opinion that every electromagnetic radiation is a wave. It's not a particle, rather it is a wave. It is having wave nature. These waves are associated with electric and magnetic fields oscillating perpendicular to each other. Means every wave has both electric nature, electric field as well as magnetic field. Both these electric fields and magnetic fields, they oscillate perpendicular to each other as well as perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave. All electromagnetic radiation travel with same velocity, that is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second in vacuum. These rays do not need any medium for their propagation. Why? They propagate under the influence of electric and magnetic field acting perpendicular to each other. ठीक है? Why light or electromagnetic radiations are called waves? Because they are associated with wave characteristics like wavelength, frequency, amplitude, and wave number. So all those things which are associated with wave characteristics like wavelength, frequency, amplitude, etc. are called waves. Here you can see the wave. You can see the sun, and here you can see earth. Radiations are coming from sun and they are reaching towards the earth. And you can see these radiations are associated with magnetic field as well as electric field. अगर आप मान लेते हैं कि रेड कलर की जो वेव है वो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड है और उसके परपेंडिकुलर क्या ट्रेवल कर रही है? इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड. सो electromagnetic radiations like this or like light, they are associated with magnetic field as well as electric field. In the next slide, next picture you can see electromagnetic radiation में अब आप देखिए कैसे ये रेड कलर से मान लीजिए क्या आ रहा है इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड, ठीक है, और ब्लू कलर से क्या आ रहा है इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड और मैग्नेटिक फील्ड, ठीक है. बोथ दिस इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड एंड मैग्नेटिक फील्ड आर ऑसिलेटिंग perpendicular to each other as well as perpendicular to the direction of propagation along the x-axis. In this picture also same is shown. रेड कलर से मान लीजिए आपको क्या दिखाया, रेड से इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड एंड ब्लू कलर से क्या दिखाया, मैग्नेटिक फील्ड. So both this electric field and magnetic field are perpendicularly oscillating to each other and they are oscillating perpendicular to the direction of propagation as well. So we will discuss wave characteristics in the next class. We come back to our class Zoom meeting so that if you have any doubt, you can ask your questions. Okay. Understood today's class? Bali? समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Anybody who could not understand anything in this class or is having some doubt, you can ask. Rohit, do you have any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can ask.